Hey guys, hey Chris here, McDaniel Motorsports. So I got the verdict on my injury from the truck wreck today. It's a tibial plateau fracture. Basically a quarter of my tibia where it meets my femur is cracked, not displaced, luckily, because I would not be walking. I have a rod going from my knee to my ankle that's luckily weight bearing enough bone to keep me on my wheels. Anyway, enough about that. I'm gonna get back on the charger because I gotta get the charger mobile and drivable so I can pull it in and out of the garage before we start taking that truck apart. And you're gonna see every step of the way of that, I promise. So starting more video here. Been laid up for a couple weeks, just not trying to get in to see doctors and whatnot. So I'm back at it. So yesterday I popped over to TTI exhaust. As you know, if you don't know, they are the authority in offering headers and exhaust systems for Mopar products, both old and modern. So I didn't know they did the modern stuff. It's pretty cool. But I'm not sponsored by them. I paid retail. Super nice folks, mom and pop kind of operation. They recommended for my 2-inch primaries. I have a set on my 440, 2-inch primary, 3.5-inch collector. I called them up and said, look, I have my own mufflers. I have a specific sound, which is why I chose my own mufflers. They're not going to be exact. I'll have to do a little modification. I'll show you guys how I do that. But here's the part number if you want to get what I have here. That's the part number. And again, TTI. Most importantly, there. So here's what it looks like. Sorry. So I have the headers on the car, as you know. Here's what they come right out of the box as. Look at this. They cap both ends, which is becoming normal in the industry, which is really cool. You can keep these. I always keep these plugs for like back purging by TIG welding. Always handy to have a set of those. So these will come. These are the primary collectors, I think. Pretty sure. Yeah, they'll slide over the header the collector extensions, and then they'll form an H pipe, or I'm sorry, an X pipe here. I'm really after that wicked sound that these X pipes make. If you know, you know. But look it up. Check out a soundbite versus an H pipe. There's a significant difference. Now power, not sure there's much of a difference, but the sound is actually significant. So one cap fell off there. But this is kind of the front section, and then this is the right before the axle. These guys connect there, and it's all slip fit. I'm gonna weld some parts of it, but if it's slip fit, you know, keep it slip fit unless it starts to move and get weird on you. There's no reason to weld it. But I'm gonna show you. You'll see me using a lot of anti-seize because that's really important with metal like this in a constantly wet environment, doing thousands of heat cycles with, in a lot of cases, bad fasteners. Just do yourself a favor. Don't use a hammer. Just use some anti-seize. Trust me. It may leak a little bit out, but it doesn't go away completely. Anyway, the exhaust is even not hot enough back here anyway to make the anti-seize go away, I've come to realize. So it's pretty resilient. So anyway, these guys jump over the axle and come down. And those are the parallel bracket tabs. So they send all the hardware and brackets with the kit. You can elect to have some and not others. Since my car was originally a single exhaust car, I had to order another one of these from TTI. Didn't come with it. It was like 30 bucks. So I got to weld that guy on to the driver's side. And then here are my parallel exhaust tip mounts. Hardware not included. You just send the tongue of those pipes through that little square hole there. And then look at these exhaust hangers. These things are really cool. A lot of thought. You can tell a lot of thought went into these. Really cool. These actually go in to this bracket right here, or actually, I think it goes like that. and this goes in like that. So this is like the back rest on the passenger side, behind the back seat of, or behind the backrest of the back seat, welded to the bottom of the floor pan. There will be two of these in the same spot. I was worried about aesthetics, meaning I wanted them to look the same, because I'm going to paint this black as well. But these are totally adjustable. You can raise them up, lower them. Pretty cool. Pretty genius. I like it. And of course you got your stainless band clamps and some more muffler clamps. So all real cool stuff. Very happy with these guys. They're nice folks. They are pricey, but you know what? There's nothing good as cheap. I assure you of that. In life, nothing, especially nowadays, nothing good is cheap. So I chose this option because I realized I didn't have enough of that kit that I was going to use. I didn't have Siamese twins of every bend, so I was going to have to add and subsidize from other stuff, and I just wasn't happy with it. If it was just any other car, I wouldn't have done this. But we're talking $800 here, so this is a significant money. But in the grand scheme of a '69 Dodge Charger, I think you guys kind of get it. It's just the way it is. That's the way it should be. So why skimp now? So that's what the plan is tomorrow. So I'm just kind of getting all this stuff laid out, and it shouldn't take too long. But wanted to give you guys a good heads up on this. And as you know, the car runs great. I've only timed it by ear. Haven't messed with the fuel screws on it yet. Just haven't got to it. Once they run, I don't like to let them sit and just idle. I like to get them in the wind, and where the rings will actually seat with varying throttle and, you know, that whole thing. So while I want to hear it run, and it's going to run, I'm not afraid to start it. I just don't want to let it sit for too long until I have some actual heat cycles on it. But there's a ton of other stuff to do. Got to start finishing up the interior. I have been waiting on seat covers, what seems like 6 months. They just haven't shown back up yet, with my headlight switch, of course, too. Just can't even tell if the headlights work. But yeah, I'm gonna finish up the wiring on the reverse lights tomorrow. I forgot a tail light wire off the back harness here, so I actually had to do that off camera. But I'll be hooking that stuff. Obviously, the license plate light is not necessary until I have bumpers, and that'll be the next round after this thing runs and drives. I'm going to put the chrome on it, and it's going to get what it deserves. I still haven't decided if I'm going to have my bumpers fixed, if that's if that makes sense cost wise, versus just getting some AMD ones, which I've heard some things. I'm sure they're fine for this car. It's a driver, and they don't have rust, and they're not bent. So, but if I was doing a concourse, which I wouldn't, I think having the OEM bumpers fixed at all costs is usually the way to go. I'm just trying to be smart about this. So anyway, that's it for now. I'll see you in what feels like a second to you, but I gotta go to bed. So here's what I'm working with. I took the old hangers off that I was going to use when I was going to make my own kit. Turns out that I just didn't have all the pieces to actually fabricate my own kit and have it all be mandrel bent. So I just kind of forewent that whole thing. Just removed those guys this morning. These guys are going to go in place of where those were roughly. There's actually a bracket that I purchased. So this car is a single exhaust car, so it only came with one of these guys, which is actually located right about there, but underneath the car. And TTI actually makes this bracket here, which is a bolt-on item, and that'll go on this side, but obviously on the back side, and it bolts in, so I don't even have to weld, so that's great. So yeah, I gotta install that. But with these kits, you gotta start from one end or the other and work to the front. The complication, this is just a knockdown kit, or it's an exhaust kit designed for this car, and it's all mandrel bent from TTI. It's a great product. I showed the part number in a previous segment, but I have to start from the back of the car and move my way that way. So I'm using my own mufflers, which are shorter. They have a shorter case than the Dynamax mufflers this kit was designed for. I have a thing about Flowmaster mufflers. I just think they're right for this car and the sound that I'm after. This is an X-pipe kit. Obviously, you saw that. But let me get set up here, and I'll show you. There's some threaded holes here. Yeah. And these guys are the factory holes. Here, yeah, you can see that now better. So I just ran a tap through these guys. This is where the factory, if this car came with dual exhaust, it would have had a bolt going through here. So I ran a tap through there just to clean the threads out. In fact, you couldn't even see the threads because this car had never had dual exhaust on it. But that one, actually, you could see the threads, and I cleaned those threads out too, so we're good to go there. So these are where these guys locate to, and that's the rearmost hanger there. And there's a tongue on those pipes there that'll actually go through those little brackets that I'm going to hang right now. So pretty straightforward stuff. And then obviously the exhaust actually has a big kick up, and it goes over the rear end, and then it has to be mounted on these big boy brackets right here. So let me get this set up here so you can see what I'm doing. And I got some 7/16 hardware, I believe, from the bolt bin, and I want to say that goes up like that. There's a drawing and instructions that come with this kit. I did read through them. I recommend that you do the same. I'm gonna keep those, well, maybe I'll just tighten them up for now. I always like to kind of piece everything together first, just like anything else, like putting suspension stuff on. You want to kind of leave everything loose. But in this case, I think I'm going to take the gamble and just tighten these up, because it is just a tongue that goes through there. What I don't know is coming in. Yeah, so I should be able, yeah, I might have to loosen these guys back up. Yeah, because I have to fish that pipe up and through there first. So let me do that. Okay, let me grab the pipe here. And they're actually labeled left and right. So So L would be the driver's side. Try not to scratch anything. Wires hanging. Hopefully this, hopefully these gussets on the rear end don't impede. Looks like my shocks may impede. Oh man, when you don't want to get up and down a lot, you always have to get up and down a lot. Ugh. Sucks. So I took my upper shock mounts off and just kind of rolled them over. This 3-inch is a real tight fit, and I struggled a little bit off camera, but I was able to get it actually up and over the rear end without jacking it up. And so I'm gonna throw my fastener here. These hangers, these guys are actually pretty cool. They slip over this guy here. They actually go here. Not sure if it goes up or down. Looks like it goes up. And I'm just throwing this towel up here so it doesn't grind on the tail panel when I'm aligning it to go that way. So my other hanger and hardware, just kind of threw it. That. Another rag. Oops. So I gotta admit, I'm not a big fan of this look here. Just the exhaust tube going. I don't know. I have an issue with exhaust tips. I don't like to see them. So I may do some modification on these. Maybe cut them back. But with cutting them back with a car, a passenger car, meaning no truck bed where occupants would sit. If you have any leaks in your floor or anything, this is going to fill up with carbon monoxide and slowly poison you. So I got to look at form versus function and go from there. But basically, this is the way the TTI exhaust is, and it's a passenger car, and it's different than what I'm used to. So I'm just going to have to run with it for now. But overall, I'm impressed with the quality of this stuff. It's actually really nice. I actually visited the TTI facility, and really nice folks, and clean shop, which is a great sign. When you see somebody with a dirty shop, you always kind of wonder how dirty their work is. So, but yeah, this stuff looks pretty good. So I'm gonna keep these rags here so they don't scratch on the sheet metal I worked so hard on. Paint. And I'm going to move to the next hanger, which is right at the backrest there. So let me get repositioned and I'll bring you back.